Welcome back to the big room. We're almost done with this.
Well, halfway through.
No, wait. Yeah. We are only halfway
I'm
through.
halfway.
With our favorite television episodes sub-series, I guess.
Yep.
Who started? Me.
Yep.
You
We're
did.
more than halfway through.
your
This will
idea.
be 3/4 of the way through. We're done with
Starting
today's
now.
Yeah,
It's
when we're done
halfway.
with this.
Started
one.
with me, and I made us watch an episode of Top Gear. Nick last week had us watch an episode of Black Mirror, and to make us much less stressed, this week, Danielle is up next, and she has made us watch an episode of Gilmore Girls.
Gilmore Girls.
Which was a predictable pick from you,
La,
but I
la,
think the
la,
correct
la,
one.
la, la.
A lot of la-las in the transitions of this.
Oh,
So
that's the whole thing.
Gilmore Girls is apparently a comedy drama television series created by Amy Sherman-Palladino. I wonder if any relation to Pino Palladino.
I don't know.
Starring Lauren Graham and Alexis Bledel.
Bledel.
The show debuted October 5th, 2000, which was 24 years ago, on the WB. Became a flagship series for the network. Ran for 7 seasons, with the last being aired on the CW, and ended on May 15th, 2007, according to Wikipedia.
Wow.
You picked this.
I did.
You did this to us.
Well, really, it's your fault because you had this idea.
Yes, it is.
And this was the only thing that I could pick.
Now, I have many I think it's one of 2 things you could pick. I have many questions.
Okay.
We're going to start out with a question segment, then we'll open it up to general episode discussion and questions for the other 2. But I have many, many, many questions.
Many questions.
So, number 1, how did you discover Gilmore Girls and what hooked you?
Ooh, I've been watching Gilmore Girls since I was in middle school.
Which was about 2000 of what?
6 or 7.
6 or 7?
6 or 7?
Yeah. So late in its run. That's
yes.
nearly when
well,
it ended.
because when it came out, I was like 5.
5, yeah. That's true.
So I started watching it because when in my house in Bellevue, we had like the fancy TV channels. And
Okay.
it would play on reruns on
What
ABC
are-
Family.
What are fancy TV?
Like, we didn't have ABC Family, like Discovery Kids, like any of that stuff, like
Yeah.
until we moved into our house in Bellevue. Then it was like we had more TV channels.
So you're just watching like infomercials?
No,
like
well, we
the-
had like regular cable, but we didn't have like, I don't know. It was
Yeah.
like a special thing when we got ABC Family.
Okay.
And they would play the
Cable
Gilmore Girls.
packagey kind of deal.
They would play the Gilmore Girls reruns like every day at about 4 o'clock.
Okay, so
Which is
you,
when we
you
got
come
home from
school
school.
and Gilmore Girls be on.
And I remember I wasn't super into it in middle school. Like, everybody liked it, so I was watching it, but it didn't really fully catch me until like high school.
Okay, but what changed?
I think I just, a lot of it goes over your head because you're a kid.
It's a lot of relationshipy stuff that
yeah.
wouldn't scan in middle school, I would think.
A lot of jokes that didn't necessarily scan.
You have a
It
lot of
probably,
jokes that are landing now because of this show.
every year I watch it, I catch more of the jokes.
Yeah.
And it's been almost 10 years.
It's been a fun side effect of this,
Right?
doing
10
this
years?
podcast.
No.
It's been 23 years. 24 years since
No
the show
way.
came out. Yeah,
That's a lot.
2000 it debuted. I just said with my mouth.
No, but since I've been watching it in like 2007,
6 or 7, 18 years.
that's a lot of years.
18 years.
Started watching this show.
Okay, what about this show sets it apart and makes it your favorite then? Above, like the other show I would have expected you to pick would be Downton Abbey, which was your probably adulthood obsession, if that's fair to say.
Yeah, when did I don't remember when I first watched Downton Abbey. It was with you. We were married, so not
I
that
think
long
we were
ago.
here, so it had to have been later than 2018.
I think so.
It might have been a COVID show or
It was
pre-COVID
definitely,
show,
I definitely
2019.
watched it during COVID because I would make tea and have cookies and try to not think about all the sad things happening.
We should run that back.
Honestly, it's been I can't remember the last time I watched through Downton Abbey, so it's probably about time for me
I
to do it
think
again.
it was 2023. I don't
It's
think
been a
you
minute.
watched it
I don't
last
think
year.
I watched it last year.
So
So,
what puts this on a
But
plant
Gilmore
fire? Is it the
Girls-
time you watched it in your
Yes.
life? Does it give you certain feelies when you
Oh, it
watch it
gives
over
me
over
all the
Downton?
feelies. I don't know. It's just this I've had a longer time with. This I can watch forever. Like I've been watching the show for 18 years. And I don't know, it's comfier than Downton Abbey. Like Gilmore Girls is a show I put on and I cook or I do my nails or like if I'm doing something on the computer and I just want some background noise. So I'll watch it and pay attention, but I'll also put it on when I just need something in the background that I like.
Is that
while I do
because
stuff.
is that because it demands less of your attention, or because you've watched it so many times? Because for me,
Probably a
that
little bit of
show
both.
would be like my parallel for you with this is Top Gear.
Yeah.
Which we've tread over a million times. But like there are parts of Top Gear where I'm like, I must be sat for this episode, and there are parts where I can make a
There's
coffee.
definitely episodes that are like, ooh, this is one of my like preferred episodes. Or like honestly, now there's like 2 or 3 episodes that I'll skip because they do stress me out a little bit. But
The one
overall,
right after this episode we watched
Oh, I hate
today.
it. It's not
Which
a- I
can
don't
you
like
tell
it.
the people what episode we watched? Because I can't remember the name of it.
it was season 2, episode 10, the Bracebridge Dinner.
The Bracebridge Dinner. That's the one that we watched. I should have said that at the top of the show.
That's okay.
Now, speaking of, did you pick this episode because it's your favorite or because you thought it was an approachable episode of Gilmore Girls?
I think both.
Okay.
It's definitely, I think it's probably my favorite. It was hard watching it knowing you guys were watching it because I was like, oh, what if they think this is too slow? They probably don't like it almost like I haven't watched Ever After since we watched Ever After together. And so now I'm like, oh, is this going to ruin this episode for me because I'm afraid of what the boys think? But it is one of my favorite episodes, if not my favorite.
What are other favorites? Do you know any off the top of your head, title-wise, that you could just throw out for people?
There's
who are familiar?
one with a 24-hour dance marathon where there's a lot of drama between Rory and the boyfriends.
Okay.
There's a Thanksgiving episode where they have to go to 4 Thanksgiving dinners,
Jeez.
which is very good. There's an episode where Rory has a coming out party. And it's
Okay.
just a very grandmother-daughter centric. Dean, the boyfriend, is knight in shining armor. He comes through for her and does all of the things that a normal 16-year-old boy wouldn't want to do. I could keep going, but there's so many good ones.
Okay. Speaking of reactions, what did you expect from the three of us individually showing not only this episode, but Gilmore Girls as a whole? What reactions did you expect from all of us? You can start with me since I've seen the show or I've been around.
Well, I mean, every time I brought up, I was like, should we watch the episode? You're like, ugh. So
I don't like Gilmore
I
Girls.
didn't expect you to like it. I expected you to, drag your heels and be grumpy the whole time, which
I did.
You did do.
We were supposed to watch this Tuesday night, and I went to a bar instead.
Yeah.
I was like, nah.
But not because,
That wasn't because of the
not
Gilmore
because of the Gilmore Girls.
It's because Brad was in town. Wild.
So I expected you not to just have all of your thoughts confirmed. I feel like
I don't
Nick.
know if I would say that.
Well, that's what I expected.
Okay.
No, not to where you actually did. I probably would expect, as I was watching it, I was like, I feel like Nick might get bored. Except for a few high points of like funny moments. Carl, I feel like could maybe appreciate the fast talking and the quippies, but also might get a little bit. I feel like you guys aren't going to like it, but I don't care because the point was to watch my favorite. So that's what I'm expecting.
There are dudes out there that love Gilmore Girls.
I've listened to a podcast of 2 guys who that's their whole thing.
It's called
Gilmore Guys. It's so good.
Of course.
One of the guys is like me. He's a diehard. He's watched the whole thing and he's showing his friend. And I've listened to every episode. They got big. They like went on tour.
Yeah.
They had like the actual stars of the show come on.
Did they run out of
Dang.
episodes and stop?
Yeah.
Yeah. Also, YouTube car mogul Doug DeMuro is a big Gilmore Girls fan. He had a Luke's, what's his coffee shop called?
Just Luke's Diner.
He had a Luke's Diner tire cover on the back of his Land Rover. That was like his iconic Land Rover for years when he started
Nice.
I
reviewing
think
cars.
going back to why I like Gilmore Girls, it's just the stakes are low. The highest stakes in the whole show is like a breakup.
Yeah.
And then they usually get back together or move on within the next episode. There's never any like stress. There's never any outside influence from like regular news happening. It's all
pretty
just,
isolated.
it's just like its own little bubble of like quirky townspeople
New Englandy.
having, crying about like, oh, I'm going to fail my test. What do I do? Oh, wait, she passed actually. Never mind. Everything's fine.
The comedy bit, there's a humorous subplot, one of the episodes that I remember, and it's when it's Stars Hollow is what the town's called?
Yes.
It's in Stars Hollow gets their first like traffic light. And one of the more anal guy.
Luke?
No.
Kirk?
Yeah.
Sean Gunn's character.
Sean Gunn's character, Kirk, like is the first one to use it and like crashes into Luke's diner.
Yes.
Because he doesn't know how to operate the stoplight.
There's like a big flashing light that happens and it disorients him, and he just because he's Kirk, Kirk, he crashes into the side of the diner.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And it's like
I shake my head, but I have no room to talk.
No, you crashed into
I like crashing cars.
Yeah, you do. It's like your favorite thing. You're like, I don't like this car anymore, and I'll hit a pedestrian. You've never hit a pedestrian.
Almost.
Let me see if I have any before we get into the discussion. I don't. So the rest of my questions will be for afterwards. So
Okay.
my impression of the show is not a positive one, but I did my best for this episode. And I think it was a
you.
good episode because it was, even as far as Gilmore Girls goes, the stakes were basement low.
Yeah.
Basement low. There are Gilmore Girls episodes where there are big arguments.
I didn't
Like,
want to pick any of those.
Richard and Emily have a bit of a tiff in this one. Lorelai's parents with the whole retirement
okay.
deal. Like, they have a bit of a tiff, but there are like shouting matches in Gilmore Girls that get quite intense, especially between Emily and
Lorelai. Or Lorelai and Luke.
Lorelai and Luke.
They
go
have
at
some
it.
arguments where I really just like, okay, fast forward. I know what happens.
Luke and Jess throw down sometimes too. Like, there's just a lot of
He pushes him in a lake at one point.
yeah. There's a lot of arguing. At one point, Rory steals a boat. It's crazy. So
We don't talk about
Wow.
we don't talk about the dark times.
now, my overarching opinion of Gilmore Girls is all the arguing that happens in the show. And so when we sat down, I spent most of the show, and it's funny, you can actually use these notes. I counted all the arguments that happened. And I wrote down not only the number, but the argument subject matter.
Oh, that's
okay. And then I can use it kind of like the rings of a tree to go through the episode plot wise. Shall we run through the arguments that happened?
Sure.
Please.
I counted 14 arguments. All right. They were, my first note was literally an argument immediately about snowmen mouths, an argument about being the squire of Bracebridge, Luke arguing about coming to the dinner, Dean and Jess arguing about who is fighting who, argument about inviting mom and dad to the dinner, Babette and Maury are arguing about being the first guests to the inn. Luke argues with Lorelai about going on the sleigh. Luke argues about literally everything while on the sleigh. Luke and Lorelai argue specifically about the secret of parenting. That one had an asterisk because you weren't sure, but I'm sticking with it. Richard and Emily argue about going on a roller coaster. Rory and Jess argue about him jumping on the sleigh, him fighting Dean, etc. Rory and Jess argue again about what kind of guy Dean is. Rory and Lorelai argue about Chris's phone call. Lorelai and Emily have an argument about Emily wanting her new room, Richard's job, etc. That was the last one. Now, that is one argument every 3.2 minutes.
To me, they're not full-fledged arguments. They're just like
It's conflict,
it's
though.
bantering.
So
They're bantering.
what I used as
A bicker.
my thing was for an argument, because I could have had 20, is that they could not be one-sided. So they could not be a person complaining about something. There had to be back and forth that was not in a positive light. So there had to be somewhat of contentious tempers or something.
Some kind of disagreement.
A disagreement between two people where they butt heads, at least minor, and it couldn't be with a jovial, like, you know,
right, like
like
yeah.
it had to be someone is at least a little bit frustrated with somebody else, and there were 14. And I feel like this is again
I feel like
tame episode.
Babette and Maury are also an asterisk. 'Cause that was just like one sentence.
It was an
It
argument.
was just like two sentences.
So I wasn't going to have it be an argument, and then they tiffed back and forth with each other, and I went, that's an argument. Now, I feel like 14 is quite high. I think that in other Gilmore Girls episodes, there will be, say, 4, but they last 10 minutes.
You have a big argument.
There are big arguments. These were little quibbles.
Yeah.
For example, the one you'll notice that what wasn't an argument was Richard explaining to Emily why he retired.
No.
There were tempers, but that wasn't an argument because she let him talk.
Yes.
Because she was giving him the silent treatment, but she let him talk, and then they talked out their feelings. Very, very interesting subplot. It's actually, I wrote a note down this was the episode where, to my remembrance, Richard and Emily are the most cordial and happy with each other for the longest. They tend to be just really waspy, grumpy rich people in the show.
But they're usually grumpy, waspy people together. Now there are
But they
some
were overtly
plots where
positive.
they break up.
Yeah. And we
then they get back to-
we learn why they're positive, and it turns into a bit of a dick isn't he situation. But I digress. 14 arguments. One every 3 minutes.
That's not that many.
It's a lot.
Nah.
It's a lot.
Nah.
When your episode's only 45 minutes long.
It's just the flow. It's just the rhythm of the show. I don't know.
A little longer than I thought it would be. If we're being honest, I thought
Yeah?
we would have a I don't know why.
It was like an hour-long show on TV.
Which I thought it was a 30-minute show. And we were at like a
No.
24-minute episode, and it was. I didn't
You
remember.
didn't know that?
Double
No,
it.
because normally I come out and there's an argument
And then
I
you run
away.
away. I make sure to turn when he comes out. I'm like, "Are you staying out? Because if you are, I will turn this off
And
because
it's
I know
not-
you hate it.
It's not like
Because I'm nice.
it's not a flippant,
Aw.
That's
gross.
too nice.
It's not a flippant, gross distaste for the show. The arguing and specifically the pacing of the arguing literally stresses me out, and I cannot physically stand it.
So it's funny you say that. Not necessarily the arguing, but something about specifically Lorelai's delivery just kind of rubbed me the wrong way. And it might be pacing.
She's a little bitchy, kind of.
A little bit.
A little bit.
And even with
Wait,
their
the mom or
humor,
the
it's just
daughter?
The mom.
Oh, okay.
even her humor, it's just really dry and just hard to take in.
This is one of
Because
those
I had
shows.
that reaction with Rory.
Yeah. Oh, she's.
Well, yeah, they're the same person.
Here's what I'll
That's
say.
the point.
Yeah.
They're the Gilmore Girls.
Yeah.
And Emily is also a Gilmore Girl.
That's true.
No, this show's come. There's a new like facet of the internet is to rip apart this show and talk about how awful Rory and Lorelai are and how they're selfish and how they're the whole not like other girls like thing that was really big in the 2000s. So now like a lot of people hate Lorelai and Rory
Yeah.
now. But we still watch the show.
It's
We still
similar-
watch it. We still love it.
Similar.
It's like a hate watch?
cultural. No. It's not like
No.
that. It's more
Okay.
like there's another parallel with another really popular show about how Jim and Pam suck. Actually.
Yeah.
And that they're really like Jim is bullying Dwight because Dwight is neurodivergent, and they're for real. And there are things that Jim does where you're like, actually, Jim's kind of a huge asshole.
Yeah.
And it's a similar thing with the retrospective of Gilmore Girls, and a lot of it's cultural.
I don't
think of
subscribe to that.
watch the show again.
I'm good.
All right.
Also, it's a hard watch after
Yo,
you've
it's-
seen it a couple times.
I can't watch The Office,
Yeah,
whatever.
you-
But
you
no,
don't
watch
like
the show
Office.
again. You'll understand, or you won't, because.
Oh,
So, I had something to say. It's gone. Okay,
So well,
we'll go. No,
no,
go.
you go ahead.
I was just gonna get into the worst podcast in the world. I was just gonna get into the actual plot.
Okay.
What do we actually think about? Because there's. Walk us through the cliff notes of the plot. There's this dinner. How does it go?
So it is Christmas break, and
Missed that.
that's why Lorelai was upset at Christopher because Chris calls and is like, Rory wants Rory to come spend some
Now
time
it's
with him.
sinking in.
And Lorelai's like, no, it's Christmas break. I get like all this time with you, even though she lives with her and sees her
Okay,
all the time.
pause. What's the relationship with Chris and Lorelai? Who is Chris?
Okay, Christopher is Rory's father, which you probably gathered. So, but there's a lot of tension there because he was kind of like absent for most of the time. So it only happens like we see in season 1, he kind of reappears after having not really been around. Like he only calls every so often and kind of checks in. So it's kind of a plot that he's now making an effort. He's getting his life together. He has like a stable job and a stable girlfriend for the first time. So now he's like, I want Rory to come stay with me because now I'm in a place where I can have a better relationship with her.
And then
And they got pregnant in high school, right?
Yes.
16? Okay.
Yes.
I assume that this plot starts before this episode because there seemed
Yes.
to be like there's a jealousy subplot with Lorelai and Chris's new girlfriend
Yes.
that was alluded to, but we didn't have the prior history going into this episode. So
Yes.
And
No,
does
there is.
Lorelai and Luke have a thing? Or is that just
They're kind
the
of
will they won't they of the show?
Yes.
it is the will they won't
Okay.
they of the show.
Yes. They eventually do get together.
But not at this point?
No.
Oh,
Because the way she bossed him
they
around,
wait-
it was like a you owe me thing or something. And I
So
was like,
basically,
what
like
is this?
Luke has been pining for Lorelai. So Luke is like in love with Lorelai for the whole show, basically.
Okay.
They try to put him with a couple other
but he's
women.
too prickly.
She
she's trying to
just
soften him
like
up a little bit?
doesn't wanna. She just like doesn't look at him that way for whatever reason because
he makes the coffee.
you know.
I mean,
he
she went
makes
on the
the
sled ride with him.
She did.
Yeah,
she
but-
kind of like dangles the carrot a little bit and then is like, no,
Classic
Bad,
Lorelai.
bad.
it's bad.
Bad.
She kind of strings him along a little bit. She kind of takes advantage of him.
I remember my point I was gonna make. I feel like this is one of the shows where like there are good people, but it's not the main cast.
Yes.
You find your goodness in people like Suki.
Suki and Jackson are great.
Suki and Jackson are maybe
Suki was the chef?
yeah.
Yes.
That's Melissa
Okay.
Dude,
McCarthy's
she was
character.
awesome.
Yeah, she's great.
She's like maybe the only good person in the whole show.
It was kind of weird seeing her play. I know she was kind of a little over the top in this, but like compared to her normal characters in movies, they're like super exaggerated. This was like kind of an understatement for her, it felt like.
Yeah, I mean,
She still feels like a normal person.
Yeah,
Like,
but
Yeah.
she's
Yeah.
chaotic.
She's
very-
not like a caricature of herself like in like Bridesmaids.
yeah, definitely.
She's palatable in Gilmore Girls, I think. And I think a lot of it is that like she is a lot in some of her scenes. She talks really quickly. She's really stressed out, like in the kitchen and things.
Well, that's
like
a
and
theme for the whole show, though.
There's a dumb the thing that made me roll my eyes in this episode is she couldn't remember the name for salt. And I feel like
kind of spicy.
I feel like
I
that's
need salt.
I feel like they were insulting my intelligence instead of her intelligence for some reason. I was like, this is dumb. But she's not in the show a lot.
She's pretty regular.
She's regular.
But she's not a main. She's not a main character. No,
No.
she's the best friend.
Right. She's not like Luke, where this episode actually omitted a lot of Luke.
Yeah, you usually get more Luke.
You get a lot of Luke normally.
And I liked Luke.
Luke's cool.
We
but
like
he's-
Luke.
He screws up too, is the thing.
Well, they kind of screw up Luke's character towards the end of the show, which is unfortunate.
Yeah.
He seemed pretty grumpy at all points.
Yes, that is.
Yeah, he's
Which made
kind
him,
of-
to me, seem like the only real person in the show.
Exactly.
Yeah.
He's kind of the
Like,
straight
I was like,
man.
these people are really putting up with a lot for these two ladies. Like, they're getting volunteered for everything. I don't want to do this stuff, Lori or Lorelai. And it's like, guess I got to do it now. It's like, why are people taking, like, just, drove me crazy. I was like,
That's
stop
part of
making
the
them do
show.
stuff they don't want to do.
Everybody loves them. Everybody falls in love with them, and you don't question it. It doesn't matter. Like, they are the queens of the town.
That irked me. I was just like,
Yeah.
these guys don't want to do this stuff. Why are you guys not, like, you just walk away and it's like, come on.
Luke is
what are
your
we doing
grumpy
here?
straight man in this weird
No means no.
idyllic New England.
No means no.
Like, when we were in Maine, we went into one of the town squares in the city we were in, and it was a lot like Stars Hollow. It just had, big gazebo,
had a
in the
gazebo.
center and very squared off and New Englandy and cool. And that's kind of the idyllic vibe that you get for Stars Hollow. And you've been to the set.
I have been to the set.
Not in New England.
Not
No,
in New
it's
England.
in
It
Los
is
Angeles,
in
of course.
Burbank, California.
Burbank.
Oh.
Is
Burnbank.
the gazebo there?
Yes.
Hey.
It's all still there. Luke's Diner's still there. Lorelai's house is still there. I mean, they've used it for Pretty Little Liars. It was the main town.
Oh.
And like several other shows. I can't remember the most recent one. But so fun fact, Lorelai's house, actually, like if you walk through it, it's like Suki's house that goes out to the square. So like
Whoa.
watching the show and like seeing the set trips me out now because I'm
Okay.
like there's this one lake we drove past, like it's just an empty retention pond, and they're like, whenever we needed a lake, that was it. So there's all these scenes that look like different places, different things, but it's just this one like
Just different
retention
angles.
pond.
And we'll just shoot it from
crazy.
this side instead of that side.
Yeah.
That's crazy. That's like when you told me in Downton Abbey, the downstairs where the servants are.
Is it
like
a different set?
They go downstairs in this actual castle where they filmed Downton Abbey in, but the downstairs is a set. So they like go downstairs, but then they cut and they do all the downstairs scenes elsewhere,
Huh.
which is super cool. Because you couldn't film in a servant's
No,
quarters.
you
It's
couldn't.
too tight.
They weren't safe, and they were old. And
Yeah.
The
Oh, yeah, that
ceilings
makes
are
sense.
low because people were shorter because they didn't have vitamins. One of my least favorite characters in the entire. Oh, okay. A couple things that bother me. I've noticed.
we also didn't finish going through the plot.
Oh no, please go.
Should we finish going?
Yeah, go through the plot, please.
Just, they're hosting a dinner at the inn where Lorelai and Suki work, and then there's supposed to be a group coming in to have this big old English dinner.
The Bracebridge,
So-
they're the
The
group.
Bracebridge group.
Does Lorelai own the inn?
Yes.
Or does she just work there?
She just works there.
Oh, I
but
thought she
she's
owned it.
like pseudo owner.
Landlord.
She's running the show.
Yeah. So the lady that owns it is the lady who kind of like took her in when she was 16, gave her a job, let her live there with Rory when she was a baby. So,
Nice.
and then she's like old and retired. So she still owns it, but Lorelai's basically like,
I couldn't tell if
She's
she was
the-
like an event coordinator or like owned the inn or yeah, what.
Manager, if you will.
yeah.
Okay.
I will.
So this group comes in.
So,
But then
well, they
they
get
don't
snowed in.
come
They
in.
can't come in because
is-
it's snowing.
This is where I thought I thought the conflict of the episode would be, oh, actually, here we are, and now we've brought in all these other guests, and then I was incorrect.
Yeah.
So,
So instead of letting all the food and the preparation go to waste, they invite all of the townspeople to come and have this elaborate, fancy dinner with them.
yeah.
And that's
Really
it.
the plot. There's a subplot that we touched on with Richard and Emily, and Richard leaves his job, and that's why he's
And
all
that's kind
happy
of an
and-
overarching like plot that's been happening over the whole first like half of the second season.
Which episode was this again?
10,
10 of 22.
2.
Every season is 22 episodes except the first one, which is 21, and that bothers me.
Oh, yeah, I don't like
It
that.
bothers me. It's just that lack of symmetry. There's another thing that bothered me, speaking of lack of symmetry. the episodes in 16:9, but the title sequence is in 4:3.
Oh, I did not notice that.
And we're in season 4 here.
Two.
All right. You've done a new season. Do a new title sequence.
Yeah.
It's okay. You can do a title sequence in 16:9.
I tell you
I believe
what,
in
though,
you.
I don't remember. So my sister's a huge fan of the show.
Oh,
So it's been on my entire life, like in the house growing up.
really?
I never watched it.
So this
but-
was, for all intents and purposes, this was a brand new experience, or have you seen it?
No, it was 100% a brand new experience. But when the music came on, I like had a flashback to just sitting in our old living room, just hearing that come out of my sister's room. I was like, that feels familiar.
Where you lead, they will follow.
It's kind of got a Full
Anywhere.
House theme song kind of vibe.
Yeah.
Yeah, it does.
You know, everybody.
I watched it. I watched this with my sister last night
Oh, really?
on her birthday. It was great.
Aw.
And she was like, "You want to watch what?"
Yeah, no, exactly that. It's like, do you want to watch Gilmore Girls with me? Yeah.
It's her dream. She's just weeping.
But she went to like skip the intro. I went, no, stop. It's like, I want to hear it all.
You can't skip the intro.
Yeah, well,
Not for that. There's certain intros. It's like the bit with anime shows is that like the title sequences are a million years long, but you never skip them. I'm that way with The Long Way Up and
Yeah.
The Long Way Over or Round and whatever else. Like those Ewan McGregor motorcycle documentaries, we have to listen to the song every time because it's great.
yeah. Yeah, it's a good one.
So, what the hell were we talking about? Oh, the
don't
title
remember.
sequence and the music. Like you said.
16:9. Or the aspect
16
ratio
by
is
9.
different.
4:3.
That's dumb.
Yeah, it was 4:3 during the title sequence, and then we lose the black bars. So it was
Yeah.
like, and it was particularly jarring because it doesn't start with the title sequence. We have an intro,
Yes.
right? So we have
cold
like,
open.
A cold open sets us up 16:9, and then we go wah, black bars, and then for the song, and then mirror back to 16:9, and it made me grumpy.
Classic. You're
It's
never
just something
grumpy.
that if I was a showrunner,
You're such
and,
a Luke.
am I?
Yes.
All right.
Of all the people on the show, you're definitely Luke.
Now, of all the people on the show, one of the most irritating to me is the front desk guy at the inn. His name is Michelle, and he has the worst fake French
The
accent.
one black,
he's
the one
like-
black guy in the show.
Yeah, sorry, black people. but
God,
that guy's
there was a
voice is
line
bad.
he said at the very beginning of the show that I forget what it was, but I was like, who talks like that?
Him.
Who would ever say that? I forget what it was. I should have wrote it down.
Yeah.
He's
right.
like
About
the
the
grumpy
dusting of the frame.
The frame.
Yeah.
He's like, I'm spectacularly talented, aren't I? Or something like that.
No,
or-
it was- I don't remember.
yeah.
His accent sucks, so it pisses me off. And he's just rude the whole
That's his
time.
whole, he's the rude Frenchman. That's
You know
his
who he
whole
is?
thing.
You know who he is?
Who is he?
He's the was it Mosley from Sweet Life?
What?
Mr. Mosby?
Mr. Mosby. Yeah, he's the
Yeah,
Mosby
he
of
kind
that
of
show.
is.
Oh,
I thought you meant it was him. I was like, wow.
I was like, how did I
no,
miss
no.
that?
That's the parallel for people who haven't seen
Yeah,
Gilmore
yeah,
Girls,
yeah.
but have seen Sweet Life. Like he's the
Yeah.
flustered
I feel like
hotelier.
there's probably
Yeah.
a decent overlap there, though.
yeah.
Yeah.
less accents, but more just.
No, of people who have seen both of those shows.
Oh, okay. But yeah, same kind of deal of just like I'm here and I cannot deal with everybody's stupidity. But his accent is bad. I think it rivals Cameron Diaz's accent in that shitty Scorsese movie I hated. What was that called?
Gangs of New York.
Gangs of New York.
Thank God.
We couldn't remember it last night, and I was like, oh my God.
It's in my notes as that one shitty Scorsese movie with Bill the Butcher. I can't remember it, and I refuse to look it up. I don't want that in my search history anymore.
Oh.
Yeah. So I wrote down this is literally the only time I've seen Richard and Emily happy at the same time, and then there it is.
So-
he quit his job.
Richard and Emily were kind of, because you mentioned you thought I might be bored. Those scenes I was kind of bored in.
Mm-hmm.
That was about it.
Oh, can you?
'Cause-
Okay. No, let's explain something.
Yeah.
Why were they? Can you explain the whole relationship with Richard and Emily and Lorelai and the dinners and stuff? Because I feel like that's pretty integral. Their relationship is
and I
kind of
think-
forced.
That's why I was bored. There was just a lot I was missing out on. I was like, I don't. It took me a second to even realize it was her parents.
Yeah.
So it's
Oh,
like,
okay. So yeah, as a stipulation of like them giving Lorelai money to pay for Rory's school, is they have to come to Friday night dinners every week.
Hence the see you next Friday when they were leaving at the very end. Of the episode.
Yeah. So in maybe not all, but most episodes, we have a Friday night dinner like situation happening.
One of our home bases for
Yeah.
the show.
So that's we got a little bit of one. That was like kind of a a boring one. Like sometimes they're a little bit more. There's more drama happening around, or comedy. More arguments.
There always is an argument there, and it's the point.
Yeah, it's usually a point of contention because somebody will have lied about something, withheld something, and then it gets back to them, and it's
Or there's a lot of intergenerational drama with Emily not understanding why Lorelai or Rory would do X, Y, and Z, or we can't make dinner this week. Well, why can you think we weren't important enough for blah blah blah? It's just a lot of that, like when you have that waspy rich parents with their disappointing teenage pregnant daughter who then has their teenager. It's just that's all complicated. And none of them make it any easier on any of the other ones. So it's just a very pained and strained relationship the whole way. But to the show's credit, like that's not the only drama we have. Like there's drama with Luke, and we find out that he has a kid kind of sort of later on. And
those were the dark times.
it's a 25-year-old show.
God, okay, carry on.
That's weird.
Let's not have an argument like Gilmore Girls.
It's nobody's fault that we never watch anything.
Yeah, but if you know someone hasn't watched it, that doesn't excuse spoiling it.
All right, to my credit, we are doing a show about Gilmore Girls right now. I'm gonna spoil shit. That's like
Fair.
the point. Nick, plug your ear.
Shut up.
Nick's deaf in one ear. We're ear protection at concerts.
I want to hear
it.
more from
Yes, please.
you
Can
guys.
Danielle and I shut up? And starting with Carl, can we get your impressions on the show? Plot points you like, just all of it. What were your feelings?
So
Carl's like,
did you get your
none.
coffee beforehand?
So I did watch this on Sunday morning with a coffee, and I was all cozy, so that was nice. But I've got a lot of questions. Like, was this a book first? Like, it's got a strange feel, and I've been kind of like obsessed with this show since I've watched it, but not for like the reasons you would think. I can't figure out like categorically what the show is.
Like you won't settle in for
It's
you.
mildly uncanny. Like, and I think you just like the way they talk, like nobody can talk that fast,
So
that
fast.
decisively. They react with like thoughtfulness instantly.
It's
They
like
it's
talk
like
as
something-
fast as Carl walks.
I've been slowing it down.
you know what it's kind of like? It's kind of like what if a Stephen King novel wasn't scary?
It's this weird. Yeah, I was like, is this AI? Like, what is this? Because it's like an impression of a town, but not a real town. Like it's mildly fantasy, but it's like. I kept trying to figure out, like, what was the writer's room like? Was it like one guy was like, well, I want to make a soap opera. And someone else is like, I want to make a play. And then someone else is like, I don't care what we do. I just want to type as much as I can on my new typewriter. Just like made it all happen and just made a play for the like, it's just a weird, like, it does this strange dance where it does a lot of things. And I don't know, like, when I was watching it, it was like kind of Roadhouse in my mind where I was laughing at things that I probably wasn't supposed to laugh at. Like, I was finding, like, things that were funny, like, in, like, dramatic looks, when, like, Jess would look over at Rory. I was like, oh, my God. Like, it was, like, this dramatic thing. But, like, so I was like, I couldn't, yeah, but I've just been, like, thinking about it, and I'm like, I can't, like, how did this show happen? Is it men writing women? Is it women writing?
No, it's
like,
a
I can't,
woman.
it's, like, it's a strange, and I wanted to get, like, did you guys feel that way at all? Like, am I just, like, looking at it too wrong? Like, but it feels like it does this kind of strange thing where
like
it's
the
like
dialogue's very unrealistically.
it's surreal.
witty.
Yeah, it's like
But
yeah,
I
it's
think
like
there's
it's
another-
impossible.
I think there's another show that also has impossible dialogue that is written. Well, we all love it, so it's a little hard to compare it to Gilmore Girls, something that none of us have a good history of watching or a very positive relationship with. But there's another show that is very quick, very witty, and very unrealistic dialogue, specifically with one or two characters, and it's Community. Community is
Abed.
also written, Abed and Jeff. I mean, the way that Jeff kind of has his rah-rah talks and the way that he reacts to things
The
is
whole winger speech.
it's completely unrealistic. In a similar way that Gilmore Girls is unrealistically, I don't know, witty.
But
in
Community
both
is
instances.
expressively way more ridiculous. Like
It's on the
you know, like,
nose.
it does right, but this and Gilmore Girls feels like it's trying to be more
grounded.
of like a diet soap opera or something. Like it's you know what I mean? Like it's like this weird. It's drama without drama, and like I just can't quite figure it out. I can't play. It's like the Nick Cage of shows. Like, is it good? Is it bad? I don't know. Like, I can't figure out what this is. Like,
I guess you just gotta watch the whole series.
I was trying to Google it to see if anybody else felt this way, and like all I could really find was either praise or like the more recent like kind of demonizing of the main characters. So I was like, I couldn't really find anybody else being like, yeah, this is a weird like. This occupies a weird space, this show. And I think I like it, but I just can't quite. I've been like, it's been in my head, like I can't figure out what it is about it that's so strange.
I wonder if that's
like,
what makes it such a hot or cold show, at least for me, is the feel is like there's not a lot that feels like Gilmore Girls. Is that you, like, have you ever gotten to a point where you finish a watch through and you're like, I want something that's like this but isn't this, and therefore I will watch nothing? Does that frustrate you, or?
No, because I just restart.
I get you there with
it's perpetual. As soon as I stop, I'll go through like little breaks, but then as soon as I'm like, time to start again. Like there's not much like a Downton Abbey. I purposely am like, I will watch through this and then I will wait. This I'm like
heavier moments.
This I'm like constantly just Gilmore Girls.
It's a little more of a
Always.
popcorn show than
Yeah.
Downton Abbey is. You have any other thoughts, Carl, or questions?
Why doesn't Rory open her mouth when she talks? Is she doing some kind of long distance ventriloquist act? Is that how all Muppets are? They're all being talked through by someone else from another show?
I didn't pick that up. That's funny.
Me either.
That's the other thing. I was watching and she's like, she talks like this. She's like, when are we going to do this? When I got to watch Godfather 3 and we're on apologetic markers. Like, it's like she doesn't open her mouth at all. And it's just like that, and the speed is where I'm like, this looks like some like AI recreation of like people. Like, and I think that's where I'm just like, what is this show? Like, it's so strange. Everybody kind of talks really fast and kind of has like, not a ton of inflection, so they're all kind of saying the same thing at the same rate. Like, it feels like they're all in a Groundhog Day, and they're like, we're going to get it right this time. And, like, they're all talking, and that's why they're able to talk so quickly, because they know what they're going to say or what they're supposed to say. It's, like, I can't... I've been thinking about this a lot. Like, it's been on my mind. It's like, and I just feel like, what is this show? Like, I'm hopefully somebody else kind of feels the same way, can, like, maybe piece it together for me.
I don't know.
Maybe. Maybe it's the best show I've ever seen, and I just don't understand it.
I hear what you're saying, but I can't piece it together for you. Like, there's something about the delivery, and I kept using the word dry. Like, it felt very expressive, but also
kind of
emotionless.
Deadpan, yeah, that's a good.
And that's where I'm like, it's got to be like, there's some kind of weird writer trying to write for a woman or something, but it sounds like women wrote for women, but then like, why are they talking about Godfather 3? Like, that doesn't seem...
Can you
like,
speak to the writer and the show
it
creator?
is. It was a husband and wife team.
Oh, I didn't know.
Okay.
Yes. So I think there were some like this. I remember Gilmore Guys specified a lot of this. There were episodes that were more like heavily written by the husband, and then there were some more that were more heavily written by like the wife, Amy Sherman Palladino. So I think she had the most creative control, but there was like they did kind of go at it as a team.
Okay.
And I think they had different directors throughout the show, so I mean that's going to bring out a bit of a different style style from different episodes.
Wasn't there a writing conflict towards the end of the show?
Towards the end of the show, yeah.
What was that about?
I can't.
Loosely?
I know I used to know. I kind of remember. It was either she wanted more money or they didn't.
The studio.
Yeah, the studio didn't want to give it to her, or she was upset about some. There's some sort of conflict, and then she left, and then they had somebody else. They already picked it up for the 7th season, so then they had to have somebody come in and like take over the 7th season. So watching the first 6 and then getting to 7 and have somebody try to like duplicate her style was even more like uncanny.
Season 4 of Community.
Yep.
Then it was just another layer of like they're trying to do what she can do, but it's just not quite there.
Yeah.
But she did the show to me, and even in seasons like the end of 5 into 6 was also just kind of like just not. The first 4 seasons, fantastic.
Like kind of phoned in, maybe.
Yeah, they introduced like some drama that's just
forced.
Nobody wanted it.
Heavy-handed.
Nobody wanted it. We've been waiting for Luke and Laura to get together, and they break them up for dumb reasons. Like they have all this character development through the first 4 seasons, and then in season 5, they're just kind of like, "What if we forgot about all of that and reset everybody?"
Yeah, it's almost
Back
like she just shook up the snow globe.
And it's like, no.
And then they replaced her.
Start over.
Is that the final season with 7? Mm-hmm. So then she's not even there to wrap it up. Except for something we'll talk about later. I'm save it because I've got it at the end. Let's go to you, sir. What did you think when you were watching Gilmore Girls with your sister?
I enjoyed it more than I thought I would.
Oh.
What did you expect from it that makes you say that? Super girly bullshit, or
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. I don't know. I felt like, I mean, obviously I felt like I was missing out on a lot. It took me a minute with all the characters to kind of figure out who's who. And like, Jess, that's
Okay.
Luke's
Nephew.
nephew.
Yes.
That took me a minute. Also, they kept saying Jess, and I was
Picturing
like,
a girl.
It's,
Yeah.
it's a girl.
Oh, interesting.
Who's that
Same.
girl? It's Jess.
Exactly.
Yeah.
But no, like 1 second, about halfway through the episode, probably it's like, all right, I kind of got a feel for people. But no, it was good. Like I mentioned, I was kind of bored with the parent stuff just because, like the whole scene where her mom comes into the bedroom and like they get ready for bed, and then she's like, "I'm going for a walk." I was just like, oh my God.
Yeah, but you
Okay,
didn't find it funny.
get with it.
The whole like their nighttime
get enough of that
routine was
family
the
drama.
exact
That was
same.
good. That was good.
Because that, like, I was just wondering.
And I'm looking at my future.
I was wondering if someone was off camera going, "All right, left hand touch face now," or like how did they choreograph that? There had to have been beats or something. I want to just that's one of the I wanted the behind the scenes on that.
I loved Melissa McCarthy's character,
Suki.
Yeah.
Suki. No, it was good. I tried not to ask too many questions about the episode to my sister.
With April, yeah.
But it was good watching with her because I could be like, all right, who is that? What is happening? Like,
So you had a
I
like
got a little bit of context.
poor Carl was just in the dark
Yeah, I was sitting there going,
Just
oh my God,
unraveling.
Carl.
because there are a good 8 or 9 very important characters,
Yeah.
maybe 10.
Is this kind of like all the characters though? Like, are there?
Yes.
Because I was wondering if you picked this because
So-
it was a good introduction to kind of everyone.
It really is. You get most everybody. There's a few at like Rory's school that are like you see a lot, but
there are characters.
these all characters last throughout pretty much the whole show.
There are characters
They did a
that
pretty good
are
job explaining everybody, though.
but there are
They kind
characters.
of did that as they arrived to the dinner.
There are characters that had very minor roles in this episode that have extremely prominent roles not in this episode.
Yeah.
Who was the chick that was like? I said chick again. Who?
With the paper that came in.
Yeah. She
All
was
right.
like,
Paris.
Know-it-all.
Paris
Yes.
is very
Paris is
integral
very
to the show.
important.
And
well, not this episode.
Exactly. That's what I'm saying. Is there are
Well, she
things like,
pointed out the anachronisms of the times.
can you kind of explain Paris and Rory's relationship, their freneminess?
Yeah. So basically, they're frenemies. Like Paris is like the foil to Rory. Rory's like the sweet, studious, like kind. Everybody likes her. Paris is intense. She's still very smart and driven, but she's aggressive and she's like her parents are wealthy, so she's just got the status and she just thinks she's all that. So she's more so abrasive.
She was picking apart all the costumes.
Didn't seem like
Yes.
she had
She's
people
very
skills.
know-it-all-y, but at the
she's-
same time, she's kind of the popular girl, which is weird.
She's the
because-
person in the group
doesn't
project you hate
exist.
because they want you to do everything. Yeah.
Yeah.
Drill sergeant.
So Paris, like they start out very against each other, and then they kind of like, Paris kind of cools off towards Rory, and then there's a little bit of like a back and forth there, kind of throughout the whole show. But then, in the end, like they end up at Yale together. So like they kind of are more friends than enemies, like as we go through the show.
I'm used to Yale era Rory and Gilmore Girls. So what age were they for this episode?
I think they're juniors in high school.
Okay, so they're 16-ish. Okay. That was confusing me a little bit because they were talking about school and my mind went right to Yale, but I got seasons ahead of myself.
Yeah.
Who's her other friend?
Lane.
Lane,
We don't see a lot of Lane in this one either. Lane was and her mom
the Asian ones.
was the age. Yeah, I
be-
didn't
to
want
be-
to say the
To be
Asian one.
forward, I apologize, but that's
Yeah.
I could say for people who watch the
religious
show,
ones?
the drummer, but that doesn't scan. So yeah, she's much more prominent too later.
Yes. So, and throughout.
And then there's many boyfriends.
There's three.
Oh, we had.
There's three.
Did she ever get with Jess? Because they at least have something
Yes.
to talk about. He understands snowmen,
Oh, she doesn't stay with
etiquette,
Dean?
and Bjork. Dean's
I
a
like
loser.
Dean.
There's
Because
actually
straight-laced
there's two
dummy.
other ones.
Let's discuss. Why do you like Dean?
Well,
Please.
because he's in Supernatural, and I love that show.
Okay.
Oh Jesus!
Which, funny enough,
You're breaking the fourth wall.
he's Sam in Supernatural, the brother of Dean.
What was your Tumblr handle?
and he shut up. And Dean is
So his name's Dean in this show, but he's not. 'Cause
His
there's a
brother
Dean
is Dean in the
Supernatural.
other
Okay.
one.
I didn't know they were brothers.
Yep.
Just thought they were, you know,
Best friends.
Just
boys.
Best friends
boys.
fighting ghosts.
You gotta fight ghosts with your bros.
homoerotic boys. Got to be a little gay. It's good for you.
No, she does get with Jess eventually.
He's a punk.
and more
He's a
chemistry.
punk.
I feel like those two.
But he has mommy issues.
He's got a soft spot though.
We don't get enough of it for me. Like, then he comes back, so he kind of leaves the show. He was like on a 2-year contract, so then they kind of write him out. And then he comes back a couple times, and he's, you know, he's done the work. He's more mature. He's got the job. But, like, at that point, like,
Good for him.
good for him. But then Rory has kind of devolved. So it's like they're never
There's
never
another
meet each
boy
other.
too. At that point, there's Logan.
Yeah,
Who I
you guys
feel like
get to meet Logan.
Logan, for some reason, to me, as far as screen time of her boyfriends goes, seems to be number one. But that could be
Yeah.
okay.
No, I agree. Because we have
Yeah.
Logan from, like,
Logan's there a lot, and he's
for, like
there.
3 seasons.
He's there in the college years. Like he's got his
Well-
own pad and stuff.
Him and Dean, because Dean we get through season 3. So him and Dean might
Okay.
be on par.
Dean wasn't there a fourth, or is it just those three?
No,
It
just
just
those
seems
3.
And
boring.
my Dean's hair might have changed or something, or maybe I don't know. Dean's
Dean-
He's got good hair, but he's just like, oh, I take care of my sister and I stop fights. Like, whatever.
Yeah, we don't love Dean, and then some stuff happens with Dean later that we hate. We hate Dean.
and then Lorelai's got a couple
Yep.
fellows as well.
Lorelai has more, I think, like also 3 main fellas, but
There's a
more
boyfriend
like
in this
4.
episode that's like, right? Or was that a different episode?
That was a different
episode. You were
I was
watching the show
watching.
earlier. That one had flashbacks to Chris and Lorelai
Yeah.
when like Lorelai first got pregnant and like the younger parents and all that deal. So this show's dense, man. There's a lot.
There's
that goes
a
on.
lot that
There's a lot that goes on. First of all, because there's a million episodes in a season, but second of all, because everyone talks so fast, there's so much going on. in
Cover a
each-
lot of ground.
They
Yeah.
they have an hour and a half of show in 45 minutes because everybody talks at 1,000 miles an hour.
Yeah, scripts were double
So they're
the
not
length.
playing it at 2 times speed. They are just talking that fast.
What,
Yeah.
what did you just say? You might have missed it.
Sorry.
Scripts were like double the length
Of a normal TV
of a
script.
regular TV script.
Can you imagine?
I guess
learn-
they have to be.
Yeah, because there's so much talking.
That's crazy.
BMAC calls it the fast talking female show.
Yeah.
I mean, it's
Which-
a pretty
That's,
deep, yeah.
that's real.
It is, but it's fast talking.
It's a fair
everybody.
description.
The only person I think in the
Yeah.
whole show that doesn't talk quickly is Luke.
Yep.
Luke is kind of chill.
I was bummed we
Jess
didn't
was
have more
pretty
Luke.
slow. Must run in the family.
Does Jess ever have a motorcycle?
No,
Okay, because
He
he's the
should.
most motorcycle coded person in the show.
he gets a like beater car at some point.
yeah, but he's motorcycle.
That's on
people.
brand.
No,
He would drive in.
Dean has a motorcycle.
See, that's
gets one when he goes to
that's
college, I
messed
bet.
up. That's messed up because Jess, like, I feel like Jess would have an Indian. Like, you wouldn't even have a Harley. Those are
Dean's
too
trying to
mainstream.
put on the bad boy look. He's got the leather jacket and the hair, but he's just a
trying.
softie deep down. Yeah,
He's got that stupid '90s hair that just makes me furious.
I would kill for any hair right
that
now.
middle part.
I have a middle
I don't
part.
know.
Be careful.
I would. Well, yeah, that's different.
It's different when it's jaw length.
Yeah.
That's
Middle
mine-
parts are so dumb.
When mine was jaw length, I kept wearing hats, which just like poofed it. It was just. It was like 8 months
Lord
of hell.
Farquaad.
It takes. Yeah, no, for real. It takes like 2 years to go from like normal male haircut to like this, like over 2 years. So that awkward period where it was just stupid was like almost a full year. It was awful. I have more questions. Carl, do you have any more thoughts?
Nothing off the top of my head right now. I'm sure I'll think
I'm
of something
gonna
else.
turn my attention. Nick, any more thoughts?
Well, I was just going to ask Danielle a question.
Oh, go
kind
ahead,
of a
because
side
we're
question.
I'm about to go
Have
back
you-
into question time. so.
Have you seen the show Parenthood?
Yes, I have.
Okay.
Yes.
I was watching this. I went, Danielle would love
I
Parenthood.
really liked
I've watched all of
Parenthood.
that.
Yeah.
That was also
Really?
because of my sister. And I really like that one.
Yeah, Parenthood's really good.
It had similarities. Obviously,
Also, a lot of arguing.
what's her real life name? Lorelai.
Lauren Graham.
Lauren Graham's in it.
Oh,
I remember my mom would get mad about Parenthood because the family was always in a fight. With
It feels probably
somebody.
a little more drama
Yes.
in Parenthood. Oh, a lot more drama.
family's already in a fight, but you liked it, but you don't like Christmas Story. Great excuse me.
I don't.
Also,
I don't have to make sense.
one more thing on Jess. That bastard murdered that snowman.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, who did that?
Jess.
Jess.
Did he?
Yeah.
All right.
And I thought Rory was in on it. I thought they did it together.
I don't think
But
that
maybe
was the
not.
case. But also, how does then the Bjork snowman win by default? I guess we win by default. What
Because they had theirs was the next best one.
was it?
That's all in their head.
We
I
didn't
don't
really
know.
get a good like overview of the other options. I don't think. You know?
I thought they were making an Alien at first, and it was like going to be some X-Files reference because like all the pop culture references, but no.
There's a lot, Danielle. I'll be in here playing video games, and I'll go out to like get a beer or something, and then run way far away from Gilmore Girls on the TV, and she'll be like, "There's another reference I understand from probably The Godfather." The Godfather in specific, I feel like, has been the heavy hitter reference.
Yeah.
Ammunition.
Yeah, why is
But
that
even there was a Gangs of New York-
continued-
What?
Like, why is The Godfather like the? Because Barbie makes a point. The movie Barbie makes a point of like that's like the men's thing. So it's like, why is that like the?
Because it is. It just is. It's
Okay.
a dude. It's the dude movie.
No, but like,
But
they
part
also
of
watch,
Gilmore
like, the-
Girls.
They watch it in the show.
I was just
Yeah,
saying,
they love classic movies. So that's one thing that's like I just adds an interesting like layer to them is they love old music. They love old movies. A lot of the soundtrack of the show, like aside from the la-las, is you get a lot of like older like some classical music and stuff. You know, they're always watching like Judy Garland movies,
Okay.
you know, that kind of stuff. So that's just part of what Lorelai really likes. But there was a Gangs of New York reference one time that also blew my mind because it was just like, this is not Gangs of New York with so and so. This is Gangs of New York with this person. And I was like,
it took me 20 years, but I finally
I'm
understand
here.
this scene.
Yeah.
I don't mind the la transitions, but musically, what pisses me off about the show is actually the outro song.
Just
should
because
not
it's
pay
just
attention to
bum,
that.
bum, ba-dum, bum,
Yeah, it's
bum.
like a shitty acoustic guitar riff with like 2 chords, and I'm like, put a third one in, a fourth. That's not music. That's just like a clause. I hate it.
Musicians.
All right, I have some more questions for Danielle and a fun game that's probably going to replace 20 questions because it's already been 52 minutes since we started recording. Now, I had a question. Has the amount of arguing in the show ever stood out to you, or am I just an overtly judgmental asshole?
I feel like you're making it stand out more. So you
I
need
disagree.
to stop.
Every 3.2 minutes there was an argument.
But I didn't think about it as much until you've
I wonder why that is.
pointed it out.
It's got to just be like men and women wired differently, or maybe that's a really simplistic and sexist. Maybe it's just me and you wired differently. Because like I will sit and watch people rebuild a car engine for 3
I
hours.
can't do that. That
but
would drive me crazy.
The arguing
you know?
drives me crazy. It's like I mentioned before with I think it was the Black Mirror episode. When I'm relaxing, I need to be like very separate, very relaxed. Like what you find entertaining and what I find entertaining are on 2 different planets. Me and Nick, for those listening, what Nick finds entertaining and what I find entertaining are on 2 different planets. He can watch Black Mirror and go, "What a great time I just had!"
All
and
right, time to go to
go to
time
sleep.
To go to
Go,
bed. Yeah.
And I'm like, I've been going to. I went to sleep the other night watching James May put together a lawnmower with no music for 54 minutes. Like that's just what I do. Okay, I have some heavily show related. I want Danielle Gilmore Girls questions, and then I have a game that unfortunately just Danielle will play, but I think we will
This
find
is
it very entertaining.
my episode.
This is Danielle's
it.
episode. So,
right.
okay, question number 1. Which of Rory's love interests is your favorite?
Logan.
Logan is your... Really? Because
Yes.
he's
Quick
the
answer.
most... I hate that guy from the episodes
I know
I've
you do.
seen. He's the most
Listen.
punchable of the 3 to me.
But you haven't watched enough of
You're
it
right.
to see the good parts of Logan.
You're right.
Now, all of her boyfriends have their drawbacks, but Logan to me brings Rory out of her shell the most. They have a lot in common. He's a writer, like they both work at a paper together. So like he kind of calls her up a little bit more. So
Okay.
Logan
Professionally, if anything.
Yeah.
They also steal a boat together.
Logan at his best is the best. Now Logan at his worst also is terrible. But so is Jess and so is Dean. Dean has an affair. We
Hang
don't
on.
support that.
Hang on. I can think of one Logan upside. He has a pool table. All right, who's your least
Nice.
favorite of her love interest?
Has to be Dean.
And who's the most forgettable?
Dean.
Dean as well. So
It can't be
is-
Jess.
Jess is fine.
Most people are Jess girlies, but teenage Jess is just so bad.
Yeah.
Which isn't his fault. He needs therapy, but it's fine.
So Dean sucks. We hate Dean.
We hate Dean.
We love Logan.
Yeah.
All right. Which of Lorelai's love interests is your favorite?
That's so hard. Because I really like Max.
I don't even know who that is.
You didn't know
who that is. I just remember Chris and obviously Luke. She
I
gets
like
back
all
with
of
Chris
them.
briefly. The Rory's father, and it's like, what are we doing?
I didn't hate that plot line
But then
until they
Luke-
ruin it.
Luke kind of comes
Luke
back.
comes
a
back
bit,
in the
and
end.
it's like-
Again, I mean, Luke at his best is great, but they have a lot to overcome. They're very different.
it's funny. Like, there's been episodes or parts that I've seen where like Rory or Lorelai will come out of the house and Luke will just be on the roof like fixing shit, and
Yeah.
it's like, what is this relationship they have?
Codependency.
It's odd.
So I don't know. Lorelai's harder for me because they just
Do you have a least favorite off the top of your head of hers?
probably Jason.
I don't know who that is.
You don't know
either.
who that is either.
Most forgettable.
Probably Max.
Max. So he's your
Max
favorite.
Max is around from like season 1 into the first part of season 2.
Okay, he's your favorite, but he's the most swept under.
He's the most
rug.
like milquetoast, kind of boring.
No love for Luke for you.
No, I love Luke, but they just the end of the show kind of messes up Luke for me. All the growth that he makes, they then strip away. So Luke at his best is great.
Yeah.
But
the
then,
show's
like,
fault
it's the
for
show's
Luke. It's
fault
not
that
Luke's
messes
fault.
up Luke for me.
It's one of those shows where the writer like decides to just hate you
Yeah.
for a part.
Great.
That's like the season 6 is just them going to everything they've built up for 5 seasons. Okay. Here's a big question.
Okay.
What went wrong with A Year in the Life? All right. First,
How do I even quantify this?
what is A Year in the Life
Yeah.
for Nick and Carl?
So, A Year in the Life is a Netflix.
This could be 1 hour.
It won't be. It's a 4-season.
Nope.
Whoa.
Well, so it's 4 episodes,
Right.
and each one is
Oh,
a season.
That's different.
So it's like
What?
4 like hour-long episodes. We get a spring, a summer, a fall, and a
Oh, a
winter.
season.
A
Okay.
Year in the
A
Life.
year
I was
in
like,
the life.
an episode of that doesn't make sense.
So, and it's Netflix decided to come out with it in 2016. They brought Amy Sherman Palladino back because
move.
the part of the lore of the show was there was like 4 words that she was going to end the show with,
She didn't get
and
to.
she didn't get to because she was fired or quit or whatever. So, A Year in the Life for me, it's just you can't, even with that writer, I just don't think you can recapture that same, like Carl called it uncanniness. That same feel, that same like rhythm, that's just, it's hard to get that energy back into it. And they also just destroyed all the characters. Rory is even more dreadfully unlikable. Lorelai's awful. Like, her and Luke still aren't married. And I'm like, you expect me to believe that they're still not married? And it's been like
15 years.
15 years. So they're together in A Year in a Life. But I'm like,
Not quite 9 years, but still.
it's been forever. Rory, like, all the career progress she's made is like ruined. She's having an affair on her like boyfriend that she keeps forgetting about. It's just the bits don't land.
the
So they
Boyfriend.
went down the darkest time.
Why do you think they took that route?
I don't know. There's also like a 15-minute musical in the middle of one of the episodes. That's
What is
great.
this? The Flash?
no sense.
I don't know why that's funny, but I laughed at it. I'm not watching the CW.
It's like they're like, what if we wrote Stars Hollow the musical? And it's like, what? Why did we? Nobody asked for Stars Hollow the musical.
Steiner looks like, what are we doing?
It's so bizarre.
Did they sing really fast?
Rory,
It's just the Eminem rap god. Shows just kind of shouldn't come back.
no, they should.
I think on a technical level, you can't recapture the 2000s-ness of it, like the way it was shot.
Yeah.
The cameras that were used, whether it was film or not, is kind of irrelevant. But there's that feel, and
You can't rebottle that lightning.
No, or that lighting. Like it's just everything is so so
you know,
different.
all of our set pieces, all of the like habit, like it's a very like habitual show. We always have a Friday night dinner. We're always at Luke's. We're always at school. Like we're always at the inn. Like we don't have Friday night dinners anymore because the actor that played the grandfather has passed away. So like that's
R.I.P. Richard.
gone. You know, like she's not at school or at Yale because she's got a career. So like that takes away like all the places where we can introduce like connectedness are gone basically. So it's just not the same. And the last 4 words were stupid and everyone hates them.
What were they for Nick and Carl?
We talk really fast.
No, it's mom. Yeah, I'm pregnant.
So it's cyclical, but not really because she's not.
But
a
it doesn't
teenager.
hit the same if she's 32.
Right.
Yeah.
Now, if
If
she
they had done
ended the
that in
show that
season
way,
7.
yeah, when she was 22, it would still not be the same, but it'd be a little bit more like gut punchy. But also, if that's how the Gilmore Girls ended, I would have been pissed AF regardless.
Because it's just like, then it's nobody learned anything.
No, like
Yeah.
the way season 7 ends, Rory's going off actually to be a reporter on the Obama campaign.
Nice.
And it
Obama.
like it fades out on Luke's diner, which is like how the very first episode ends.
Okay.
So like it's a nice like little bow. Everybody, Luke and Lorelai are together. We're at Luke's diner. Rory has her job. She's a reporter. Like we have a
Is
nice
that the
mwah.
first instance of like an actual real world event being tied to the show? Because you said normally like they don't really
yeah,
do much.
probably.
Wow.
And I
And
think
that
at
was
that
when
point,
the new writer was there.
yeah, he's like I think he's running for senator
Okay, of Illinois.
when.
We can put you down and quote you as saying that the new writers ended the show better than the creator did.
Yeah.
Dang.
Yeah.
Dang, put that on a plaque. All right, can I a mean question time, and then we'll get to our game. I know we're running a little long. You have to pick one. You can never watch another again. Gilmore Girls or Downton Abbey.
Ooh.
Down Abbey.
You're picking Downton Abbey.
No. I'm picking Gilmore Girls.
Okay, well, Jesus.
You said pick one you're never watching again.
No, pick one, and you can never watch the other again. So
Oh,
you're
okay.
picking Gilmore
I have to
Girls,
pick Gilmore
and you're
Girls.
never watching Downton Abbey.
No, when I went to college, I bought all the DVDs of
Yeah,
Gilmore
we
Girls.
have Gilmore Girls. Like the media takes up space in my house, which is pretty cool.
Seven boxes.
Yeah, they're like box sets. It's cool. It's groovy.
Because I didn't have Netflix. That wasn't a thing. I had to have the DVDs.
Okay, now my last segment, and then we'll wrap the show up
Okay.
and throw it to Carl for his pick, which I could
I
not
can't
be
wait
more excited about.
To hear Carl's pick.
All right, I want to play a Gilmore Girls association game. Okay.
Okay.
So I'm going to give you 7 things, and I just want you to say of that thing what Gilmore Girls makes you think of. All right.
Okay.
Starting with number 1. What season?
Oh, fall.
Fall. All right. Color.
Orange.
Orange. Food.
Pizza.
All right. Beverage.
Coffee.
Article of clothing.
Sweaters.
All right. Car.
A Jeep, because Lorelai has a Jeep.
Specifically a TJ. And last one, candle scent.
Ooh. Probably like a coffee cafe.
Interesting. I thought you'd go with a pie of sorts.
Oh, yeah.
Like an apple or cherry pie.
No. I'm
But a
stuck on the
coffee,
coffee. But I'm
yeah.
also drinking coffee right now.
And we've
so
got a
that
coffee candle over there.
may be playing into my senses right now.
All right, well, very cool.
But yeah.
Little Gilmore Girls word association.
Yeah.
I like that. All right, well, that was Gilmore Girls. How do you feel?
I feel good.
Are you
Doesn't
pleased
seem like
with
you
our-
guys hated
No.
No.
it. So do we hit
No.
mid or miss it?
I'll give it a mid. It's
Yeah.
fine. I still wouldn't like sit down and go, can't wait to watch. And I'm still not gonna like when you're watching it. I'm not gonna stay in the living room. But it's
That's fine.
It's just like that's for you.
That's
It's
okay.
not the worst thing you watch.
It's not.
Yeah, I'd do mid, I think. Also, I don't think I have enough information to.
Yeah.
It's hard
Yeah.
too. This one I think more so than the other two because yours was an anthology thing or whatever. Each episode was different. Mine was Top Gear, which can kind of be taken at face value. This was the first one that we've had where we've been put in the literal middle of a series.
No hot points?
I thought about it, but then Cameron kind of made me go through the boyfriends anyway because I was I could do something with the boyfriends, but you guys don't know them all. But then he kind of.
All right, hit mid or miss from Carl.
I think I'll do mid.
All right,
Like, I think I enjoyed it, but it's definitely not something I'd just put on.
okay.
But it's definitely left me thinking about it for a long time. So
Now, would you call that a success? Is that a win?
That's a win for me.
To have mids and no misses. I
Absolutely.
feel like that's a big win.
Overall, like not hostile.
You're pleased with the
I'm
reaction.
pleased.
All right. Well, that makes 2 of us. Sorry, Nick. I feel bad that we hated Nick's show, but
You hated it for the right reasons, though. I
think we had
I'm
a
just
fair-
glad
That's
you
the point of the
appreciated it
episode.
for what it was. Just didn't like
I think
that.
we had fair
and
critiques
that's fine.
of it. It was more of a we talked it to death last week.
Yeah,
Go listen
go
to
watch
last
it.
week's episode if you want to listen to 3 people not like Black Mirror at all. All right, so
And one
and
like
one
it a
person
little
really
bit.
really like it. All right, so Carl's gonna wrap us up. I have 2 guesses.
I'd like to hear him.
Okay, can I give my guesses?
Yeah.
I
I
think
also,
that there would
yes.
be I actually have 3, but I don't think you would have picked Community because we've all seen it. I don't think it's
Right.
going to be that, but I think that's up there for you.
Yeah, that was the decision for me was easy because there's a lot of overlap with the shows we already watch. Like most recently, Bob's Burgers, y'all have been going through. So I was like, all right, well, that's kind of taking that off the list. But yeah.
Okay.
What were your guesses?
So my guesses would be if I'm thinking Carl 10 years ago, I think your pick would be Adventure Time, which is an incredible show.
Yeah.
But I feel like I don't know if it resonates as much with you today in the current world. And also Danielle like hates animated shit. So that might have been a preventer. I think that I'm pretty confident and I'll be pretty surprised if it isn't 30 Rock.
Yeah. So it was definitely between Adventure Time and 30 Rock. But I figured if this is my only chance to get you guys hooked on a show, Adventure Time is less likely with 3 episodes or whatever to get you guys hooked.
Right.
And I think 30 Rock, I might be able to get you guys. So
I'm
yeah, it is 30 Rock.
I'm excited.
I'm
to watch 30
excited.
Rock.
I've
Same.
always
Yeah.
wanted to watch 30 Rock and I haven't. So
Yeah.
Because it feels like just an extension of every other show that I like.
yeah.
It really,
Like
there's
the
a lot of, I mean,
Communities,
there's a
Arrested.
lot
Brooklyn
of
Nine-Nine, Arrested
similarity. I mean,
Development.
Donald Glover was a writer on the show.
Oh.
Tina Fey created it and produced it, and it's like, it is. I don't know. It's just one of the most. I don't want to talk about it too much because I want you guys to kind of go in fresh and not
give
have
us
too
what
much
we
of
need to
like
know.
my. So, do we want to talk about which episodes?
No, let's save that for the beginning of next
Okay.
week.
So, oh God, 30 Rock is it's a sitcom. It's kind of Seinfeldian in that it's sort of a SNL parody of like the writer's room and kind of what goes on in the making of a show like that. It's very comedically dense. It's fast paced. It's kind of an ensemble cast of sort of wacky and odd but lovable characters. It's kind of a nostalgic show. I got into it like in college, and it was just kind of like the group watch that we would all. There was like 20 of us living in a house at one point. And we would all just get on the couch and just watch it and laugh our asses off. So it's got a lot of like nostalgia. But yeah, I don't want to give away too much, but it is one of my like favorite shows. I quote it a lot. I think about it a lot. So yeah, I'm excited for you guys to watch it.
And we got 3 episodes.
I mean, I'd be fine if you guys watched
Everybody
the whole
else was
season if you
around.
really want to get into my
Everybody else
world.
was around an hour.
yeah.
So and they're
Yeah.
20-minute episodes, I assume.
They're like 20 minutes.
So let's do 3. Can you go ahead and give us the 3 in case the
So-
people want to watch along?
I figure dropping into season 2, episode 1, 2, and 3 is probably a good place. I know you like beginning, so I figured that might kind of be a decent way to start. Season 1, it takes a few episodes to kind of really get rolling.
Okay.
But season
Most-
2 is
that's
in
most
full
sitcoms.
swing. Yeah, and I mean, it's like really like episode 6 where it really starts to become 30 Rock. But yeah, I was like, I wanted to, let's just start season 2, 1 through 3. I figured there's some cameos that you guys might like, and yeah, we'll go from there.
I'm very
Yeah.
intrigued. For some reason, 30 Rock, like culturally, is just a big blank spot in my mind. Like to the
Same.
point of whenever he mentions 30 Rock, I think Arrested. I think Arrested Development for some reason. So I don't really.
There's a similar
know.
comedic tone there.
Like, is Alec Baldwin in 30 Rock?
Yes.
Okay, maybe there is a little bit of familiarity. I just don't. I don't know what to
Yeah, I
expect
think of
at
him
all.
and Tina Fey when you say 30 Rock.
I don't know.
Yeah.
Okay, there might
Tracy
be
Jordan, Jane Krakowski, who was
Not
in,
Amy Poehler, though, right?
No. Yeah, but they were,
She was probably
I
doing
think,
Parks
still
at this
friends.
time.
Yeah, probably.
Yeah.
So
I think it was like 2006, 2013 was the runtime.
this is another kind of like SNL-y kind of.
Very much like you can tell there's a lot of sketch show influence. It's fast paced. It does kind of cutaway gags. It's silly. It's very much of a time capsule of the time too. Like it references current events and things like that.
Okay.
But yeah, it's so funny. I hope you guys love it.
Last question: what platform is it on?
It's on Peacock. I think it's also on Hulu. But I'd watch it on Peacock just because it's the brand that made it.
Okay,
NBC.
it's an NBC
so,
show.
Yeah.
Very good. You
Yeah.
still have Peacock.
There you go.
So there you go. Good thing we didn't cancel that when you asked why we had it. And
Yeah.
My answer was because the first Packer game of the year was on it, and I just didn't cancel it.
We just still have it.
We just still
I
have
still
it.
have Apple TV. Yeah.
All right, folks. That was Gilmore Girls.
Hey.
Hey, and we're gonna watch 30 Rock, and then
I'm excited.
We actually do have a movie list that we need to whittle down. I'm pretty sure it's in a tab of the doc now, right?
It is.
So the list is there. There's I think like 40 something probably for sure's and then a couple maybes. So we need to kind of get on that and have a little discuss. But back to movies, back to our regularly scheduled programming in, I don't know, early February.
Yep.
So there you go. 30 Rock. I'm excited. We're going to
Yeah.
watch that on peacocks.com. And we'll catch you in the next one.